Lay families threatened with eviction. Overcrowding in central schools. And border security still a concern. Good evening and thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. I'm Godwin Eki. Up to 20 families along 7th Street in Lay have been threatened with evictions, with the National Housing Corporation claiming that they have outstanding rental payments. The families have requested for help from Lay District, also stating that the NHC has no system in place to handle payments. Lay City has been the scene of several illegal evictions by the National Housing Corporation.
This row of flats belongs to the National Housing Corporation. Some of the families have been living here for more than 30 years. But last week, the National Housing Corporation issued a notice to the tenants telling them to pay up or face eviction. And this is not the first time this government agency has used this tactic. John Poroda is one of the many residents. He says the NHC's financial records are in disarray and they have not been given receipts for the previous payments they've made.
The letterhead and head of the support must be.
On Friday, the residents requested a meeting with the Lay MP John Rosso. They've asked him to talk to the housing minister on their behalf. And this will be the latest meeting requested by National Housing Corporation tenants threatened with eviction by a government agency tasked to provide housing for them.
2018 only come give all eviction notices. One time all sample outstanding were beyond. I think one time people looking at over 10,000 kina. Also I'm looking at outstanding talks over here. You know got remittance advice. So I'm only targeting more brick house, that's all, standalone houses.
Towards the end of 2017, Rosso intervened on behalf of 2 nurses who were evicted from their homes. They eventually got their homes back. Many tenants have opted to seek help from their political representative because the systems of government work against them.
But at the same token, what we have to establish is that whether the outstanding areas and rentals given are the exact amount.
While the National Housing Corporation may have legal rights over the properties, it's been public knowledge for a long time that this arm of government has an extremely bad track record of financial management and corruption, and it has lost its credibility in the eyes of the public. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lay.
More than 800 students are enrolled at Kupiano Secondary School in Abau district of Central Province. However, the school is facing some tough challenges. With a teaching staff of 28, they make an effort to give the best education for students. The school has been in existence for over 20 years.
Kupiano Secondary School opened as a vocational school in 1974. In 2007, it transcended into a secondary school. Located in Abau district, the rural school is facing challenges. This year alone, the school saw an increase in their student intake. The grade levels are made up of 5 grade 9 classes, 5 grade 10 classes, 3 grade 11 classes, and 3 grade 12 classes.
What I mean is that we have situations where students do not have that opportunity where they can sit properly or stay properly to study. We have some problems like students overcrowding in the dormitories because of lack of bedding spaces or spaces in the dormitories, and we have an influx of students coming into our schools, and we give them opportunities to enroll. And just look at the enrollment for this year, we have gone over 800.
Not only is overcrowding a problem, but water has become the greatest issue the students face on a daily basis.
Students, go looking for water when we don't have water, because Here, our problem on that side of the for water problem, we have water coming from the other side of the lagoon and pumping through here, and most times we have difficulties pumping water to here. So the students walk almost half a kilometers to the reservoir to wash every morning, come back before they get themselves prepared for classes.
Although the buildings are old, the staff is doing the best they can to give quality education to their students. Mr. Odobu was grateful to BSP for their 2018 community project with the installations of solar lights.
Solar lights installed for the boys and also the girls. And these solar lights are now giving light to the students in the dormitories, especially for the boarders. And so when it comes to studying in the night, that is very helpful for them to study. And
Lilian Soperakinea, National EMTV News.
Security at the border continues to be a concern for provinces that share a border with other countries. The Western Province shares a land border with Indonesia and sea border with Australia. With little assistance, acting PPC in Western Province Inspector Saiwa Rika says it's a challenge having to deal with human smuggling, drugs and illegal fishing along the borders. The island of Daru is situated just hours of Australia and worse towards Indonesia, making it subject to criminal and illegal activities. A lot of illegal activities between these countries includes illegal fishing on both PNG and Australian waters and the exchange of drugs.
Daru is a place where all these other things, bad things are coming in. Especially drugs, and also it's a transit point for especially the drugs and also for arms and ammunition coming in from Australia. And South Fly Command shares two borders, international borders. That's the Australia Papua New Guinea border and the Indonesia Papua New Guinea border. So we really need our sea transport to be in place here, so that we can utilize that to patrol our borders. But at this point in time, we cannot do that.
But that's not all. Concerned locals on the ground say, with beach dema season now on, sightings of buyers from Indonesia are illegally entering the province to buy sea cucumber from the locals. Backing Inspector Saiwa, Daru Town Mayor Samuel Wingu is calling on the national government to take action on the situation on the ground as is of national concern.
This town is a very important town for this province. You know, we have Australia to the south and Indonesia to the west, and this is an international border town. I think that this town needs to be given the attention it deserves. We should not be forgotten.
Inspector Saiwa says support from quarantine, fisheries, immigration and military is very much needed on the island to protect its people and its borders.
We only have Australians coming in with the customs boat to assist us at once in a quarter. They come and then get our members here. Even some of the policemen from Mosby come in, and then we do our joint border patrols just once every quarter. But that is not enough. We cannot really curb the border crimes.
Last night, the Embassy of the Republic of Korea hosted its first ever 2018 Korean Food and Film Festival in Port Moresby. The evening saw guests enjoy a screening of a hit film from the Korean cinema, delicious Korean cuisine dinner and raffle ticket winners.
Last night, the Embassy of the Republic of Korea hosted its first ever food and film festival to cherish the nourishing friendship with PNG, which has been in existence since 1976. The evening was filled with Korean cultural experiences of extravagant cuisine, teas, and a sensational film portraying Korean sentiment called Ode to My Father. The film has been watched by over 14 million Koreans and became the second highest grossing film in the history of South Korean cinema. So much history is knitted in the dialogue and scenes of the movie. Based on a true story, the movie moved many to laughter and tears last night. Through a long friendship between both countries, the trade is continuously growing.
Last year was 800 million kina. Korea is the 10th largest export destination of Papua New Guinea, and Papua New Guinea is Korea's largest trading partner among the Pacific Island countries. It is true that Papua New Guinea is a gateway to the South Pacific for us.
All the guests enjoyed the beautiful Korean delicacies. And the evening ended with raffle ticket draws to which many guests won valuable prizes. Lilian Sopera-Kinea, National EMTV News.
You're with National EMTV News. We'll have more of the day's other stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Robert Marek, a local from U Island, northwest of Wewak Town, has proven that even with limited knowledge on running a guest house, he can turn a beautiful beachfront into a tourism site. Marek, who is the owner of Nice Boy Guest House, runs his business with wife Catherine and children. He built the guest house in 2008 as a way to generate income for his family and was overwhelmed when it became popular. His wife Catherine completed training on cookery and prepares meals for guests. With only 3 bungalows, the guest house attracts tourists from as far as Sweden and America. In July, Marek received the Governor General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai and other government officials. Marek says the view of the sun setting on the colorful reef and huge waves are an attraction for tourists. Lei is the last known part of call for American female pilot Amelia Earhart before she disappeared from radar during her attempt to be the first woman to fly around the world. The American Embassy in Papua New Guinea honored her memory on Thursday by unveiling a plaque at the Nadzab airport. U.S. Ambassador Catherine Ebert Gray said this will hopefully inspire more women to fly.
On Thursday, American Ambassador to Papua New Guinea Catherine Ebert Gray, other American delegates, and Air New Guinea staff witnessed the unveiling of the Amelia Earhart plaque at the Nadzab airport. The plaque was put up in Air New Guinea's executive lounge in memory of the female aviator.
I hope this plaque continues to inspire travelers, and particularly girls, to follow their passion and to follow their dreams, however adventurous or however remote they are. So thank you very much.
Amelia Earhart was the 16th American woman to get her pilot's license and one of the first female pilots to fly across the Atlantic. On the 20th of May 1937, she departed from Oakland, California, along with her navigator Fred Noonan, attempting to become the first female pilot to fly around the world. She flew to South America, across Africa, to Asia, and arrived in Lei. On the 2nd of July in 1937, Earhart took off from the old airport in Lei to continue her flight to the Howland Islands in the Pacific. Sadly, her plane disappeared. This monument here in Lei commemorates Earhart's last known location before her disappearance.
So this plaque is a fitting tribute to this American heroine who blazed a path for the rest of the women of the world to follow. And here in Papua New Guinea, I'm really pleased to see that there already are so many women in aviation.
The plaque was purchased by an international organization of female pilots called the 99s, of which Amelia Earhart was the first president when it was established, with 99 female pilots.
There's an engraving on this plaque. Quote, attempting to be the first woman to fly around the world, Amelia now flies in the memories of the people throughout the world, inspiring us all.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
Mosby South MP Justin Techenko says investigations are underway and 3 people will be brought in for questioning in relation to the double-story classroom at Kilakila Secondary burnt down yesterday. It is alleged a grade 10 student at Kilakila Secondary is the arsonist. The male student set alight the building after being disciplined by a teacher.
2-story building are still on the run, they're still at large. The police commander of Badili has already been investigating this particular total disaster, I would say, of burning down the building. I also believe that they have identified 3 or 4 different people that they want to question on the burning down of the school building, which is just, total upsetting the governor, myself. We're devastated in what happened. We put all our time and effort into helping upgrade the infrastructure in my electorate together for the benefit of our students, and then one useless individual destroys it for the masses. It's just uncalled for, and I will personally ensure as well that this culprit, or those culprits that did the arson and lit the fire, get the full force of the law, and they will feel the full force of the law, because we can't allow this to go unchallenged.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sunday's news. Turning overseas now, the FBI is investigating an incident, but one it says wasn't a terrorist act, but a red flag for aviation security. One man decided to steal a passenger plane and take it on a fatal joyride. 2 fighter jets were scrambled in the initial trial, but it soon became clear it wasn't a terrorist mission. In conversation with the airport's control tower, 49-year-old Richard Russell said that he was just a broken guy.
The stolen plane was filmed by shocked witnesses flying low over the islands of Puget Sound.
What is happening right now?
Okay, but why has it got jets?
It was pursued by at least 2 F-15 military jets. The authorities said those aircraft escorted the plane out of harm's way, but were not instrumental in bringing it down.
What the hell is this guy doing?
Whilst he was performing aerobatic manoeuvres, the 29-year-old man at the controls was talking to air traffic control.
We're just trying to find a place for you to land safely.
Yeah, not quite ready to bring it down just yet, but holy smokes, I gotta stop looking at the fuel because it's going down quick.
Okay, Rich, if you could you start a left-hand turn, and we'll take you down to the southeast, please.
This is probably like jail time for life, huh? I mean, I would hope it is for a guy like me.
Well, Rich, we're not going to worry or think about that, but could you start a left-hand turn, please?
The man piloting the plane said he would perform a last barrel roll and then call it a night. He crashed into a sparsely populated island, causing this fire.
There was the loud boom, and I looked at her and said, what, did they drop a bomb over there? And that really must have been it.
Our information now is there was only one person on the plane, and that was the person flying the plane. There is no indication that this person who was flying the plane was trying to damage anything or attack anything.
That man said himself he was not a qualified pilot, but he had enough knowledge to take a plane and fly it for some time before bringing his journey to an end.
Authorities in the United States are bracing for rallies and possible violence 1 year on from the deadly clashes in Charlotte that killed 32-year-old Heather Hyatt. Already hundreds of students and left-wing protesters have turned out in Virginia City.
security in Charlottesville, Virginia on Saturday. Police arresting at least 3 people. The governor declaring a state of emergency, hoping to avoid a repeat of last year, when protests turned deadly. Police blocking off streets, mobilizing hundreds of officers preparing for Sunday's events. Jason Kessler, one of the organizers of last year's Unite the Right event, says he is not a racist, calling himself a civil rights advocate for white people.
White people are about to become a minority in both the United States and Europe. I think we are facing epidemic levels of anti-white discrimination.
This year, the Unite the Right 2 rally will be held in Lafayette Park in front of the White House on Sunday. President Trump criticized for his response to the violence last year, today tweeting, "The riots in Charlottesville a year ago resulted in senseless death and division. We must come together as a nation. I condemn all types of racism and acts of violence. Peace to all Americans." An anti-fascist group quietly marched through downtown Charlottesville Saturday afternoon, paying tribute to Heather Heyer, the 32-year-old woman killed when a man drove his car into a crowd during last year's protests. The group leaving messages at the site of her death. Heather's mother also there to honor her daughter.
We're trying to make the world a better place and either get on board or get out of the way.
On Sunday, she will stand with many of the people who marched with her daughter last year.
The sister of the Kiwi teenager killed by a mass murderer in Norway 7 years ago has made an emotional return to the summer camp where her sister spent her last days. Sheridan Bourne was one of 77 who died in an attack in 2011.
Walking in her sister's footsteps. Savannah Svebik Bond is now 14, the same age her elder sister Sheridan was when she was murdered here on Atoya Island when attending a young Labour summer camp exactly 7 years ago.
I'll be honouring her staying there, her living, the fact that she was happy for the few days that she was there.
Sheridan was the youngest victim of Anders Breivik, who killed 77 people in the mass terror attack. The family moved home to the Bay of Plenty a couple of years ago and planted a tree in Sheridan's memory on Mount Maunganui. Now back in Norway, they spoke to One News via Skype about Savannah's decision to go back to the place her beloved sister spent her last few days.
They weren't sure that they would get me back, and I thought that was a difficult question to ask them. We were all crying, but we understood that it was important to her, as hard as it was for us to say yes.
Savannah asked her parents if she could attend the summer camp on what would have been Sheridan's 21st birthday, just days before the 7th anniversary.
Savannah's focus has been on how Sheridan lived, which is an inspiration for us as her parents.
Amongst the sadness, there was joy. She had fun at the camp, playing games and making new friends, and sleeping in the same camping area as her sister did.
I just thought that it would be important just to walk around a little bit, and I felt that was my way of kind of coming to an understanding about what Sheridan did.
Leaving Savannah on the island overnight was extremely difficult for her parents, but now they say it was worth it.
She brought everything full circle. We lost a daughter there, but we also got one home. It does give me happy memories about it, but I don't really think I could ever shake the feeling of knowing that my sister was killed there.
The family, who hope to one day move back to New Zealand, now say it may not be Savannah's last visit to the island.
60 years after her death, Frida Kahlo is under fire in Hungary. A conservative pro-government newspaper is taking aim at an exhibition in Kahlo's work in Budapest.
6 decades since Mexican artist Frida Kahlo died, but her personal life and radical politics are sparking fresh controversy in Hungary. An exhibit featuring Kahlo's paintings in Budapest is under fire by right-wing pro-government commentators. Kahlo, who's best known for her vibrant self-portraits, was a communist and has become a powerful feminist symbol and cult figure. Despite her iconic status, a conservative Hungarian newspaper is taking issue with the exhibit. It claims her paintings promote communism, which aren't in line with conservative values.
The autonomy of individual institutions should be preserved, but I think the government, especially this government, has the right to firmly and consciously favor and support conservative thinking, artists, and works of culture.
An article in the paper says, quote, "You won't believe it, but Trotsky has emerged in Budapest again, this time from Frida Kahlo's bed," an apparent reference to her affair with Russian revolutionary Leon Trotsky. The harsh critique comes in the middle of a wider campaign for conservative values championed by Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who won another term in elections in April. The populist leader campaigned on a harsh anti-immigration platform and has embraced a return to traditional Hungarian values.
An era is determined by cultural trends, collective beliefs, and social customs. This is now the task we are faced with. We must embed the political system in a cultural era.
The Kahlo exhibit is just one of the art installments the newspaper has targeted. A recent article entitled "This is the way communism is promoted using state money" called out a string of galleries and artists. In June, the same publication accused the Hungarian State Opera of spreading rampant gay propaganda with its production of the musical Billy Elliot. A third of the scheduled performances of the musical Billy Elliot were cancelled.
Back home and with 92 days to APEC, Minister responsible Justin Tchenko is more than confident that Port Moresby is set to host APEC Leaders Summit in November. He gave a brief update on infrastructures that will be used for the APEC meetings.
Look, on APEC preparations, we'll be APEC ready. Security, logistics, infrastructure, looking great. Always moving forward. SOM 3 is currently on at the moment with all our thousands of senior officials from all over the 21 economic countries. It's a big thing at the moment and it's doing well. All the meetings are progressing at ICC. The APEC House will be handed over at the end of this month. In September, the Hilton Hotel will be officially open for business. All the facilities are basically done. The roads will be completed by October. So we've got all the infrastructure coming to an end. So look, I want to say to all the public, please, thank you for your patience. To the public of Port Moresby, thank you for your patience for dealing with the traffic issues we're having for all the new roads that are being built and being reconstructed.
Vabukori clan chiefs are calling for consultation with the government on the multi-million kina projects located in front and behind their land in the Port Moresby South electorate. They want to know how the projects will benefit them. The Lands Minister and Moresby South MP Justin Tchenko met with them this afternoon and responded to their concerns.
Turaho Morea, Ward Councillor for Vabukori, raised their concern on how Vabukori and Moresby South electorate would benefit from the Port Moresby sewage plant and the submarine internet cables that are expected to land at Konidobu, which is located just several meters from the main Vabukori village.
Overlooked and not even consulted, and I think the word to use this afternoon, Honourable Minister, with great respect, is that we have been ignored. And it's a slap in the face to bring one project right to us and not allow us, bring another project right to our doorstep on this side and not allow us. So on behalf of Vabukori community, Honourable Minister, yes, you are a Member of Parliament, but you are a Minister, and we are hoping that you will escalate our concerns to the Prime Minister.
Moria said there has been no consultations with the clans of Vabukori, as both projects have reached their final stages.
The corridor was built, and then we thought that the pipeline was going to go towards Pari or Tarama Way. But then it curved, and then it's running right in front of Tenaladera. And we had no idea until we saw a barge with an excavator excavating the reef. And it was only through what we saw that we went down and we objected, and we escalated the matter to Kumul Consolidated. And we're still talking with Kumul Consolidated to see what they can do.
Meanwhile, Moresby South MP Justin Tchenko said that he will initiate a meeting between the clan's chiefs to meet with the State Enterprise Minister William Duma.
I'm happy to address the issue with you all this week. So I will get back to you tomorrow, give you a time and a place for you to meet Minister William Duma, and from there finalise and discuss the issue of the water and sewage program.
Tachenko went on to clarify the issue of the submarine internet cables, that he wasn't aware as of yet where the cables would be placed on shore.
But as soon as I get the location of where the undersea cable will come and be located, then I'll be able to give you further information of where it will be and what the outcomes and situation will be.
Clan chiefs and representatives are expected to meet with Minister Duma this week to further clarify issues raised. Adelaide Sirox-Kari, National, EMTV News.
86-year-old Neil Brian Day from Adelaide, Australia is visiting PNG for the first time and says he had the time of his life experiencing the culture and lifestyle in Port Moresby since arriving on Wednesday. Neil, who is accompanied by his wife and son, has been visiting tourist sites in the city such as the Parliament House and the iconic New Look Ella Beach and the Bomana War Cemetery. Not quite used to seeing many people on the streets going about their business. 86-year-old Neil Bryan says visiting Port Moresby is quite an experience and a good one. Since his arrival on Wednesday, Neil visited a few iconic places in the nation's capital and is hoping to catch a glimpse of some traditional sing-sing during the Provincial Day celebrations in the city.
I found it very good. The people are very helpful.
Today, Neil visited the Bomana War Cemetery, which he says reminded him of his late brother, who was laid to rest in Thailand.
Yeah, my brother died a prisoner of war on the Burma Railway, and as far as we know, his grave is in Thailand.
When asked if he would like to come back to PNG, Neil says he would certainly come back if the opportunity arises. Trukai Sports is next. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Daru Town Sports Coordinator Kerry Gera said interest of sports on the island has fizzled out and urgently needs government support. Sports facilities on the island are still run down, from the rugby field to basketball and volleyball courts. Not only that, the upskilling of sporting officials needs attention. Rugby Union President and Sports Coordinator in Daru, Kerry Gera says sports facilities in Daru are in dire need of maintenance and government support. He says while sports is an integral part of human development, engaging youths in sporting activities has been a major challenge.
We have faced a lot of difficulties here in terms of facilities. I would say those are the challenges. The main challenges we face over here are facilities. As you can see at the back of me is the Daru rugby field and the other courts like basketball, volleyball. As officials, we struggle ourselves to try to get the games running. I would say a very negative funding from the government in terms of facility development, in terms of human sports development as well, when you're talking about sending our teams out to play in other provinces, especially for national tournament.
Rugby Union is quite lucky to survive through the support from PNG Rugby Football Union on the island.
The Rugby Union has been fortunate enough to go out to play in national tournaments organized by the Papua New Guinea Rugby Football Union in the 15s and shorter version of 7s rugby because of the fact that the Rugby Union is an affiliated member of PNG Rugby Union. But for the other codes like basketball and volleyball, soccer, which is non-existent now, netball as well, I would say it is because of the facilities.
Gera is appealing to the Minister for Sports to visit Daru and help revive sports in the district.
To the Minister for Sports that in Western Province or Daru Island for that matter, I would say, because I'm here in Daru, we have a lot of talent here in all forms of sports, rugby, basketball. We have the best talent here, I can say, even athletics, track events and field events. So if the Minister for Sports could at least think of us and maybe do some budgetary allocations the next time he's thinking of giving funding to others.
The Port Moresby Soccer Association Premier League competition entered the second week of round 2 this afternoon. PS Roots took on Cosmos in the first match, while the second match saw University FC go up against FC Genesis.
The Premier League competition was launched in June with a few new concepts added to the tournament. The level of competition has increased since the start of the tournament.
Premier League, they should play 7 games each, so like 7 weekends round 1 and another 7 weekends round 2. So we finished round 1 and we commenced round 2 last week, and this is the second weekend for round 2 games for Premier League, and I think a couple of other lower divisions as well.
Munkas FC have been dominant in the first round, maintaining the lead at the top of the table.
The competition's pretty good. Munkas still maintaining the supremacy and still holding on to the top position. There was a weekend shift and Kaleruna moving up, and yesterday Munkas went back to the top position. Kaleruna dropped back to the second position, and following that, I think FC Genesis is the third on the spot.
There is no set date to when the finals will be held, but tournament director Paul Karambi hopes the competition can finish off before the APEC meeting in November.
I'm very optimistic here, well before the 24th, assuming several factors come into play, like for instance, teams not keeping up to meeting up their registration fees for the 2018 season. We drop off those teams, then we should be able to complete our season before the APEC requirements comes in, and we'll be locked out of Bisini.
The Premier League is played every weekend at the Bisini Soccer Grounds. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The SPPNG Hunters beat the Tweedhead Seagulls 20-18 this afternoon in Brisbane, Australia. A tough contest between both sides saw the Seagulls score first, but it did not take long before Hunters to reply with 2 tries from Alex Wera and Brendan Gotuno. In the second half, 2 more tries from Watson Boas and Junior Rao furthered their lead. A late tries from the Seagulls wasn't enough as the Hunters held on to win 22 points to 18. Trukai Sports continues with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To golf overseas, and Ryan Fox is on track for his best ever finish in a golf major. However, Tiger Woods was again the talk of the course after charging up the leaderboard on a very busy third day.
Since Tiger Woods last won a major, 11 since his last of 4 PGA championships. But when the crowd gets itchy feet and camera happy, the world number 51 has gone from prowling to pouncing.
Play here, back right holding. It's just peppering the flag sticks at the moment.
Woods made 4 birdies. No, make that 5 on the front 9 of his third round. Front-running US Open champion Brooks Koepka could probably sense the danger. But then Tiger's putting touch absolutely deserted him.
Gotta stay up.
This chance of an eagle to really apply the pressure slid by. Coming back, the birdie went begging too. Incredibly, he missed 7 birdie putts in his back 9 and finished with his second 4-under par 66 to leave him 8 under, 4 strokes off the pace.
I played well today. I played 29 holes. I think I dropped 3 shots today, and 2 of those were 3 putts.
It was saves like this keeping Koepka in front as the world number 4 chases his second major of the season, his third in 2 years. Improved putting has been the key to Adam Scott's revival. 5 years after his breakthrough major victory, the Australian slumped to 76 in the rankings, but shooting 65 today has him just 2 shots back of Koepka. However, it will be all eyes on you-know-who.
To NRL, the Eels hammered the Dragons in a stunning upset last night to move off the bottom of the table. Here are the highlights.
Things started out all good for Jared Hayne, then this happened.
It's a nice boot to the melon, accidental of course.
Unfazed by the nasty knock, Hayne refused to leave the field, giving former players in the commentary box an opening.
Well, we're going over the top.
Oh, the double.
Over the top.
The hot cross bun.
I'd just walk off the cross. I'd be done for the night.
Well, he wasn't. Done, that is. Despite the unsightly headgear, Hayne showed no signs of hesitation, scoring his second try within the next 5 minutes. The Dragons, though, going from bad to worse, skipper Gareth Widdop dislocating his right shoulder. Then Hayne stretching out the score with his third.
Either it bounces, it's still there, and Jared Hayne has a hat-trick.
You're branding, mate?
Yes. He's wearing a hat, and he has 3 tries.
Dragons hard man James Graham had enough, but Eels 5/8 Mitchell Moses continued to toy with the downcast Dragons.
The point, pouring into the backfield, holds it out, runs past Duffy, run Mitchell, run!
The Eels' final try summing up the disorderly Dragons, who have now lost 5 of their last 6 matches. Sitting one place above the Warriors in 5th, with a better points differential, the final 3 rounds will be hectic.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In Southern region, Port Moresby and Daru mostly fine and cool night. Alatau cloudy with rain showers tonight. Popondetta partly cloudy night with rain drizzles. And Kerema partly cloudy and cool night.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Before we go, starting 25th August, EMTV will bring you a series of documentaries featuring the 22 provinces to celebrate the country's 43rd independence anniversary. On our travels around the country, we also talk to passengers who chose to fly with PNG Air. ATR 72600 from Port Moresby's Jackson Airport is about an hour and 15 minutes to Daru and 3 hours to Kiunga via Tabubil, Hagen and Tari.
And I wish you for attracting attention. Please do not inflate your life jackets until after.
PNG Air covers more domestic routes in the country, especially main ports and rural airstrips. I travelled with cameraman Paul Naime to Kiunga and Daru Island in Western Province on PNG Air -8. Government services are slow in these centres. However, Kiunga gets attention from the Oktedi mine nearby. PNG Air operates 5 flights between Daru and Kiunga every week. Passengers travelling to these areas are thankful for these services. Some say it's cheaper, others say it's reasonable. People travel home to visit families while others are on business. Interestingly, Western Province borders 2 countries, that's Australia and Indonesia. And that's the way it is this Sunday, the 12th of August 2018. From the news team, I'm Godwin Eki. Have a pleasant week. Good night.